What shirt you got on there?
Horn High Desert.
Oh, I knew it.
Oh, what?
You little fuck. I want
cool
that
shirt.
shirt.
Oh, hell yeah. I think they have it online.
I didn't know he had
Oh, hold on.
merch.
Let me turn up your mic.
It's brand, like they just released it.
That high?
That's normal. I actually have Clark low right now. All right. Enough behind the curtain. I like that fucking shirt. How's it feel?
Oh, very slim fit.
All right.
All right, I'm out.
Oh, here's the thing.
And for those
I'm in.
reasons,
When you're curvaceous like I am, you know, and you got a tight rectangle, you got some geometry on your chest. Ooh. It really accentuates the parts of your body that you don't want to, draw attention to.
my fucking love handles, Dave.
So here's what you got to do. You got to go 1 to 2 sizes bigger than you normally would. And, you do that slim fit shit, and then it's fighting it.
Let me tell you something right now. When I find a T-shirt that I find to be pleasingly fittable,
Mm-hmm.
I wear that thing down to the threads.
What are you talking about? Like good moob support?
I mean, like this one, the old Guar shirt.
Yeah,
I
I have this thing kind of like I like the slim fit shirts, but I have this thing where like I can't work without having my shoes tied tightly. Like I can't work with my shoes off at all. But I have to make my like feet like slim fit, inside the shoe in order to be able to work, like in order to just keep my head in it,
Well, Thomas, as we start the podcast here, let's get a little bit more into that. Where do you think that came from, Thomas?
Good question. I don't know. I have no idea.
Also, where did this character come from?
What character?
Exactly, Tommy gets it. No, dude, you don't. So all right, so you're lounging around the house. Can you do a loose fitting shoe? Can you do a slide, a sandal?
No sandals. Unless I'm at the beach.
Okay, socks. You walking around in just socks? Can you do that?
Well, I can walk around in socks, but I can't sleep in socks, and I have to wear shoes if it's during the day.
Who can sleep in socks? That's my question. Randy, I bet you sleep in socks.
I've been known to
Oh
occasionally.
my
Yeah,
God, Randy, that is psychopathic behavior.
I'm a psycho.
Well, when Russell and I run out of wearing socks, we found out that we each wear our girlfriend's socks.
Yeah, he was very into that detail.
The little bows.
I'm not currently, although my right foot, I can feel that. I usually wear what do they call it when it's like ankle height?
An
The fuck
ankle
is that
sock.
called?
Cut,
Ankle
low cut.
sock. Thank you,
Ankle cut.
Randy.
Yeah, the no show.
It felt too on the nose for me, but I can feel a hole in my heel, and it's driving me fucking crazy.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
And much like Tom, I'm wearing like fully laced up boots right now, and not because I have to do the podcast, but I do need to get dressed to do any work. And Oksana was making fun of me with her eyes while Tom was talking about that.
Because you usually get dressed like you're going outside somewhere to
Yeah,
record.
have to. Tom gets it. If you're not like dressed for it, then there's something about like your aura. You're just not doing
yeah.
work. I bring like a different energy to the table.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I can't. Like I think I wore pajama pants in here a couple times when we recorded.
Yeah.
No good. We deleted those episodes. They were so bad. All right, Tom, but what's up, man? I haven't seen you since you came out here.
Dude, I know. Well, I've just been busy at work, but mostly editing, and then a little pre-production stuff as well. But nothing that I can really announce yet. But like maybe some big things coming. I'm excited about that, and it'll be found footage. So I got a few like found footage developments kind of like kicking, and then I sent y'all Isaac's latest movie, which I guess premiered today. The episode premiered today. And then today
Tuesday, or like today when the episode airs on Thursday?
Oh yeah, that's right. See, I don't do the podcast stuff, so I can't think like that. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
He meant the episode you talked about it on premiered today that we're recording.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
And then I'm about to edit this next found footage feature called Ghosts of Hiroshima. It was the same director who did the 2021 movie called Stay. And that's on Amazon, but it's also found footage, and really excited about that one.
Man, I think you're the only guest we've ever had on here who like you've downplayed all the work you're doing. I know for a fact you're working. When's the last time you went to bed? This is one of our favorite games to play over here.
Oh, well, sometimes I like lose track of the time, so I gotta like So I have this trick where like I like look at my shirt and I kind of like try to remember how long I've been wearing the shirt for. So like right now I got Horn the High Desert tee, and I think that is like 2 or 3 days that I've been wearing this.
Word.
So.
All right, no, this is a good game. I've got a terrible brown kind of like knockoff Friday the 13th shirt. I was carrying over my enthusiasm from the holiday on Friday, which I totally forgot we watched a Jorge Torres film to celebrate. I didn't even mention it, but I think I'm 2 days in on this one. Go ahead, Clark. How many days you got on that shirt?
I just 30 minutes.
Boo.
I'm a clean gentleman.
No, Tom, I have to ask about your sleeping habit because I honestly felt a little guilty when we got you out here for the film fest, because I was like, are you having withdrawals from working? I think you're out here for what, 2.5 days, right? No computer.
Yeah, no,
hanging out?
it was weird not to work. I said that to a couple folks out there. I was like, we were like, sharing a beer after like the screenings or whatever, and just felt weird because with the pandemic and like all the places shutting down, kind of when that started, I just got to work and stopped like going to bars and doing all that stuff. I like to drink socially, but anyways, yeah, that was kind of like, it was refreshing, and I slept a lot when I wasn't at the screenings, so that was good too. And I guess the way, like, I wasn't able to just like stay awake and I guess not sleep like right off the bat. Like I had to work up to it. So I did this micro napping technique where I set an alarm and I sleep like 10 minutes on, and then I work for like an hour or two, and then I go take another 10-minute nap. And then like I do that a couple times every day, and then my body feels like it just had like an 8-hour rest, even though maybe it's only like
okay. All right, let's unpack that. Now, have you always done that, Thomas, or since you've been, in the working world and you've just found this rhythm?
Yeah, exactly. Only like a year or two I've been doing this.
Do you miss a nightly sleep routine?
I do go to sleep sometimes. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Sometimes I totally do.
Okay.
He does intermittent fasting, but for sleep.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
God damn it.
I know.
Well, Thomas, now that you're here, there's questions I want to ask you. I think we've only talked a couple times since you were out here, definitely not on camera.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I got to ask you, how was it watching your short, like in a theater?
Oh, it was badass. That was so cool. Yeah, I love showing those things in the theater, and just like, watching people watch it. I guess that's always like really fun too.
Yeah, I keep forgetting you're from a city that hasn't like shut down. You actually have people like walking around all the time. And I believe when you came out here, we were like newly open.
Mm-hmm. And we still, I try to attend all like the Austin, because I live here in Austin, Texas. I try to attend all the Austin film festival screenings. So I tend to submit to a lot of like those, because I still like to, attend those events, or, but going to San Francisco, that was like my first time, at least like out of state, and first time in San Francisco. That was cool.
How much human poo did you step in?
I'm sorry? One more time? Human poo.
The show's much better when I can actually speak English. Let me try one more time.
Human poo, I got you. Yeah. No, I didn't step in any human poo.
All right. Look at that. You're agile, too.
Well, then you need to get back out here, because you have an experience. That's it.
No, so what's it like? What was it like being out here in the Bay Area? Was our film fest different? Could you, like, feel the prestige? And all like,
it felt different the second I got there, because like you picked me up from that like alleyway that I was just like eating Chinese food in, because I texted you. I was like, oh shoot, my phone's about to die, I don't know where to go, and you were kind enough to pick me up. Then we as soon as we got to the show, I saw you, Clark. You were just rolling up, and I guess like this was before the venue opened up, but I saw maybe like a dozen or 24 folks just kind of standing outside, but like everyone was talking to each other, which usually, we attend these things, it's a bunch of strangers who get to meet each other, and it kind of like takes a while to like warm up to like, start socializing. But man, I just felt like it was such a community it was the Bad Ben Haunted Highway screening. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know the trick to get everybody to mingle? You set a date, like a firm date and a time.
Also, Roofalin.
And then you show up 15 minutes late. And while everybody's out there, they just, everybody's like, what's going on? And you next thing you know, it's a mixer, and they didn't even know it. And Tom, you're so polite. We were totally late to the ATA thing. I think Clark was there.
Let
on
you
time.
rephrase.
Yeah, Clark was there on time.
Thank you.
We drove up late because clearly we're the cooler people. So we came out and everybody was like, "Oh shit!" And they took out their cameras. And Clark was like, "What the fuck? I've been here the whole time." Oh, and then Randy flew in. Randy, it was nice to see you too.
Yeah, I missed that one, but yeah, I was there for the full weekend.
Yeah, you're too good for Bad Ben. I actually just
Still
spoke
never
to
seen
somebody.
a single one.
Dude,
Really?
Yeah,
I
Oh, interesting. Nice.
I spoke to a person who had come out to the fest and attended the online one. And I think the only movie they liked was Bad Ben 7 Haunted Highway at the ATA. So, you know.
I mean, that was intense because it just has so much going on. And it's like, I don't know, it's more self-aware than I feel like the other Bad Bens are.
Yeah.
And it goes next level, you know, with like the decapitated heads and the vampires and
I think it's his opus. It's his masterpiece. You know, he's at the height of his powers. Look, Benign is right there too. I love Benign, but there's something about the playfulness of 7.
Do y'all know anything about Eulogy? It's coming out on Memorial Day.
Oh.
The next Bad Ben.
Very excited. Very excited.
You know,
Nigel's looking pretty good. I saw he looked like he drove down to a festival in Tennessee. He got honored, something like that, and looked like he dropped a couple lbs. He's looking pretty svelte.
Well, you know, you mentioned Bad Ben 9, Benign. I realized that's a requel, and it's a good one.
A requel.
Yeah, like, you know, Blumhouse, how they're doing like Halloween.
Yeah.
Again, but it's a sequel and a
How is
prequel.
Benign or requel?
Well, because he's almost like remaking the first movie, but it's also a sequel.
I believe it. Do y'all know
Yeah.
do y'all know? I might mess this up, but it was Bad Ben, like the Mandela effect, maybe.
Oh yeah.
And wasn't it like, because I watched it like within the last couple of months, and I was getting confused because it felt like a shot by shot like remake of either the first or the second one, whatever it was. And I like went back and cross referenced, and because I was like, oh, because there have been there's like one found footage movie that I think has actually like duplicated their ending just to make another sequel. Maybe we'll talk about that later, but I was like, man, did Bad Ben just like copy and paste the same movie? And I went back and checked, and no, but like he did essentially like just reshoot the same journey, but it was just like he just re-recorded it.
Well, Tom, I am disappointed, dude. I thought you were my conspiracy buddy. The nature of the Mandela effect is that it's confusing and it messes with your memory. And no, there were not 5 dolls molesting Nigel in the first film, which is one of the best movies. And if you haven't watched Mandela Effect, it's essentially Bad Ben, like Tom was just saying, the original, but an anthology film split into like, 4 different realities that are all
in the Nigel verse.
Yeah, they're all in the Nigel verse, exactly. And my favorite would have to be the one with the dolls.
That doll thing, I'm telling you, that was one of the more satisfactory jump scares I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was
beautiful.
Dolls are so creepy in found footage. There's so many of them too.
Especially when it's being manned by Nigel Bach.
Well, here's the other thing about Nigel. When we're talking about Haunted Highway, there's a lot of found footage films that can be funny, mostly indirectly because they're made by like amateur filmmakers who are just kind of putting it out there, like they're just burying their heart. But there's not a lot of found footage horror films that are on like intentionally funny. And while we were talking, I was trying to think of another one. I really can't. I mean, Space Clown is intentionally funny.
Well, all right. So I'm assuming in this conversation you're getting rid of faux documentary.
Yeah,
because that's its own.
Just found footage horror.
Is Space Clown totally found footage? I remember watching that.
Okay,
it was like
there's there's some liberties taken.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There might be a music video in the middle of it.
Yeah. Hey.
We have this rule at Found Footage Critic where it's like as long as 90% of the film is found footage, then we can add it into the database. So I always kind of like follow.
I think Space Clown's in there.
Yeah, you would make that.
Nice.
Well, okay. What did Found Footage Critic think about the Deep House?
Well, I mean, I saw the Deep House. and I thought it was pretty cool. You know, it was just, I don't know, they had like the coolest premise, and they had the coolest like idea, and I think the setup was really great, and then just when we were like underwater, something just didn't feel right. Like I think you guys talked to Scott Sloan about it on his interview, where I heard y'all's analysis, and I like totally agreed with the fact that like there were certain like linens and cloths that like, you know, would have been like some, like they were just laying on tables, you know, when scientifically speaking it would probably be floating, or, you know, little things like little continuity errors that just didn't make the experience fully, like, you know, it felt a little simulated or staged, but I thought it was cool. It was definitely like a really cool idea.
Tom, you pointed out one of my favorite things about the movie, where the characters literally, they comment on how the books are not degraded, and they kind of, you know, allow the audience to chop that up to a haunting. Like there's something about a haunted house that will like preserve itself even underwater. Like it won't, it's almost like, here's another movie. A town gets hit by a tornado, but only one house is left standing. And it's like, oh, people go there and it's haunted. And then, you know, you don't actually comment on why the house is untouched. But, you know, as an audience member, you'd be like, well, it's because there's a fucking demon in there.
What do you know what the name of that movie's called?
What?
Tornado House.
Oh, dude. All right.
How could
Tom,
it not be Tornado House?
All right, Tom, we'll sell you that premise for like $5,000. You
Deal.
in?
Yeah.
Tom, okay. Now, before I had to ask you.
Well, all right, we're leaving things unfinished here.
I know.
Going back to the funny.
Okay, go to the funny.
Next big thing.
Oh my God.
From our
you're right.
bestie.
Yeah, from the first year. You are right, though. Yeah, you're right.
That movie the only one that has what, Bolt Driver?
Bolt Driver would not make the found footage critic cut. That is definitely a hybrid. And that's even like Madeline, R.I.P. Marbles. She really pushed for that. That was like her favorite. And she even admitted like, hey, we're stretching it right here. But it fucking killed in there. So whatever, people are happy.
You know, Living Among Us was kind of like a comedy. You remember that vampire one? Like The Dirties is kind of that way too. Spree.
Well, Spree's funny. Yeah, you're right. Any movie with the fucking Bigfoot in it.
Descent into Darkness, My European Nightmare. Hilarious.
No, and you know, I didn't mean to get caught up on all these films. You know, we were on a tangent from the film fest. But before we like move away from that, I wanted to ask you. Now we watched the film fest. By we, I mean me and Oksana here together as we were moderating it. Clark was in an airplane, like literally in the sky, and I'm guessing you were at home in your editing bay.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, how did it play for you? Did you enjoy it? Were you embarrassed that your film was a part of it?
I loved every minute of it. I was there the whole time. I think I went to the bathroom once, and then like I was working simultaneously, but it was a lot of fun. And I had seen all the films. I had seen all of them except for like Lana Barron's short, which I think was like for the virtual fest. That was cool. I saw that for the first time, but yeah, it was great.
Here's the thing. No, I got to people listening. We love Thomas. Like clearly I do. And God, we really wanted him to be a judge for all the films at the film fest. But this little fucker, he's got his fingers in every goddamn movie. So we're like, we look at it and we're like, wait, no, you've literally had an impact on like 5 of the films we showed in theater.
Yeah.
So we can't let you judge anything.
It's true. Like little like post production. Like I worked, did just like a title graphic on the Outwaters, and then just did some like early test screener like feedbacks with the Alien Report. And what else?
Well, Isaac was in there with Deadware.
Oh yeah,
Curse of Aurora.
I didn't work on Deadware, but you know, it's just the Curse of Aurora was great too.
Also, I will say, and we had a ton of filmmakers come out to the festival this year. Every single one, at some point when I was talking to them, said the phrase, "Hey, have you seen Thomas?"
Yeah.
That's awesome. I did get to meet so many folks out there. It was amazing. Like, seriously, best time ever, best festival experience. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, you're the mayor of the festival. Congratulations, asshole.
Well, here's the thing I wanted to ask you about the online thing, though. Now, we had seen all the movies, too, but we had reached out this year to try and create, kind of like a cable TV takeover. And we got a bunch of people to make short little videos that were not really commercials, not really like...
Short little videos? What are you, your dad?
Evan Jordan short that opened up the fest, yeah.
Wait, which one?
Evan Jordan short.
Yeah.
The fest, yeah.
Well, not just him. I mean, we had like Rich Lawton, who did the documentary on Ghost Watch. He did one where he was like selling the film on floppy disks. Then we had weird stuff where we had just appropriated old cartoons where a floppy disk showed up. We had one with like Batman, and like none of these had any context to them. We had Kevin Saxby show up from loosely playing the character from that video game. What game is that?
Inscription.
Do you know that game, Thomas?
I don't, but really quick before I forget, I also submitted one of those videos too, but I think it was like a day late because it was right before the fest started. But did y'all get to see that little montage that I put together?
Yeah, we meant to tell you. We thought it was terrible, and we rejected it.
Cool.
It was the only video we had to. No, you submitted it. So literally with the online fest, we have to like upload every video to them, and then they run through it all. So by the time we got yours, we were locked out of it.
Yeah. No, I totally understand, but yeah, maybe I'll submit it next time.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing. We're like, oh man, I wonder how those play, because in the chat you get a bunch of great conversation about films or short films, but the like interstitial things, they're almost like too quick. And I'm sure people are just like, what the fuck am I watching? Yeah.
Those are cool, though. I like how they're like a good breather in between the films. Gives you time to kind of like look up, like especially like the shorts. Like maybe there was a couple of those that I hadn't seen. So like in between those interstitials, I was going back to the website and like trying to look up the names of like those films and whatnot. So it was like a nice little break in between each segment. I thought it was cool.
Also, your homie, the one I talked about, I think last week that you love, Robbie Smith from Heavy Lolo. Go ahead.
He did one of those too. He did. Yep. Did you do that film where there was like he finds the floppy in the woods or something?
Yeah, I think it was like a hard drive.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
cool.
a DCP.
I like that one.
Yeah. Now, just so I don't sound like a liar, you are a fan of Heavy Lolo, right?
Oh, big time. Because like I grew up listening. Well, I grew up like playing grindcore music and like that like hardcore metal stuff. So I just the way that I sort of go down the rabbit hole of found footage, imagine like a 16-year-old version of me going down the grindcore rabbit hole.
Robbie texted me after that episode went up, and he was just like, man, I love you guys. He was like, I love it when people talk shit about my band on their podcast. Robbie, we love you, dude. But yeah, Tom, I'm glad you hung out. And Randy, you too. You're the unspoken hero of the fest.
Yeah, it was fun.
God, what a zero.
I don't know. We've talked about it already.
I know.
I had a good time.
I saw you in the lobby. You were there. You were there for sure.
That's true. Right? And I was in the chat for the amount of time that I was there and not asleep. So,
hey, Tom,
Randy was there as my emotional support. Randy's my emotional support dog. Yeah, DAWG.
He showed up and you never did.
Hey, I was there. I was present that weekend.
He was the sad dog sitting in the rain out on the curb waiting for the master, and you never arrived, dude.
No, dude, I was there.
Well, Tom, I know you listened to the last podcast and you heard me rambling about trying to like potentially putting together a Discord. I just thought of you can fucking help us with that.
What now? What is this nerd shit? Sell me on this Discord bullshit, Thomas.
Tom. If we did a Discord, we could show videos on there, right?
Well, give me a second, because like I'm kind of on Clark's side. I don't really know what Discord is.
Yeah!
We already got an email saying, do I really have to email you about this? Yeah, set one up and send me an invite already.
All right, well, don't ruin our segments for the next show, okay? Also, what the fuck? Tom, I just got 2 emails. You just got fired off 2 jobs, dude. They thought you were a techie nerd, but like you don't even know Discord? What the fuck?
So I did an interview on Discord. I think you even tuned into that.
I did.
Like,
I was there.
A year ago.
You did an interview on Discord?
I did. Yeah, it was actually a lot of
Fuck.
yeah, it was yeah, we just talked found footage or whatever, but like I was just trying that day I was like just trying to figure out how the hell Discord worked, and I still don't really know, but it's cool. It's a cool interface. You know, when I was editing the Barbados project, like we were doing the Barbados Boys segment, I kind of tried to mimic a little like a little bit of that Discord sort of interface look, you know, but yeah, I don't really know what it is. So you it's like a forum, you chat and you share videos and stuff.
It's where all the autistic...
You're describing OnlyFans right now, dude.
Yeah, it's where all the computer incel autistic boys hang out and they do all their secret shit. I believe
Autistic boys.
I believe that's where James Dobbin Jones said he got most of the videos for Charlotte's Net.
Oh,
so that,
cool.
Yeah,
I've been
that's
talking to him recently. Actually, I think he's doing well. I shouldn't say anything. But.
No, Tom, don't. It scares Clark.
Yeah,
when
don't
we
mention that scumbag in front of me, dude. Peddling his filth.
He gets scared. We can't talk about.
No, I just think it's bullshit.
We can't talk about JDJ, dude.
Well, he asked me if I would like sound design like his next movie, and I was like, well, are we talking like simulated horror, or are we talking like the other one? And, and I just told him I couldn't do it, man. I'm like, yeah, no. I mean, I've seen some of those movies before, but yeah.
Wait, he's still doing more of the same?
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speak for him, but I heard that he's working on something.
See, I fucking knew it.
No, you know, the next level.
I fucking knew it, dude.
Here's the thing. He's already appropriated other people's product. Like, you know, they beheaded somebody. The next step is he's got to do it. So...
Somebody's got to put him down. That's all I'm saying.
Again, our highest viewed YouTube video, James Dobbin Jones. Go ahead, check out that channel.
We sold our soul to God.
Anyway, but back, you know, when you did that interview on Discord, I believe it was part of the Shira Chord. Is that their group?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to give them a shout out. Those dudes pull all like sorts of like Japanese found footage, and it's a lot of stuff that doesn't have subtitles and may never get them. But those fools do it.
And they work on putting the subtitles together too. They like hire, like I've seen them reach out to like try to like hire, or saying that they were going to hire some people to translate those. And like I've seen like this, like some Koji Shiraishi films that like I think they're slowly but surely translating those.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have a buy-in. Like if you pay $20, you get access to everything they've done, which is a pretty like wide library. And it's funny, on April 1st, they had put it out that they were getting shut down. One of the actors from a movie had alerted the police, and they were going to discontinue. And I just straight up was like, oh, I knew it was going to happen. And I guess I'm never too old to get taken by April Fool's jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
you got to have a raised sense of awareness on that day, man.
Yeah, but anyway, shout out to Shiracord. They're doing God's work. Or perhaps the Devil's.
Totally.
And yeah, Tom totally did an interview on there, and I hooked it up Bluetooth to the car while we were driving around, and it was freaking Oksana out because it fucked with the display in the car.
Oh.
It didn't know what to do with Discord, and we were just looking at it, and she was like, what's wrong with it?
Yeah, I share that with the Toyota company. I also don't know what to do with Discord.
Well, I'll just say this: if y'all get on Discord, I'll get on. Like I'll tune into that.
Great,
stuff.
we'll have one.
Yeah. See, Clark's got this weird anxiety that nobody's going to show up to his birthday party. And here's the thing. You got like 3 people here. We'll be there.
No, I don't care if no one shows up to the birthday party because the birthday party fucking sucks, dude. So it's better if they don't show up. Just don't have a fucking birthday party.
See, this is what I fucking work with. This is why I was begging Thomas. I'm like, please do a segment with me. I need some like real interaction from somebody who's enthusiastic and motivated.
Thomas, what's the last non-found footage film you've seen?
Oh, man, that's a really good question. Hold on, I'm gonna have to check my my letterbox diary. I got it popped open, so it'll only take a sec. Don't
tell me Batman, dude.
So like the last like 10 are like found footage. On the count of 3.
Oh, what did you think?
I loved it. It was so good.
Okay. All right. So Russ,
wait, hold on. Now, here are my thoughts.
Now we split the baby.
Do we go on 1 or 3?
Such an idiot.
I don't think anybody goes on one.
Okay,
who
so
goes
do you
on
go?
one,
do you go
dude?
after one?
It's 1, 2, 3. You go on 3.
Okay, so you go on 3 or after 3?
This is something you learned at 2 years old.
1, 2,
No one goes at 1, dude.
3 years old.
I don't know, Tom. I just thought that tonally, it never materialized for me. And I think that when you're dealing with stuff like suicide and stuff like that, I wanted a little more
Realism.
I wanted a little more
James Dobbin Jones.
dark humor. I don't know. It just
Did it fall a little short?
Carmichael didn't bring a whole lot to the table to me with his performance, and I like him. I like his stand-up. I like him.
Is that the director?
Yeah. He directed it, and then he was the star in it.
Man,
And
it is so hard to direct and act like.
But again, just the story with him and Timothy Haddish and the baby.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I know where we're going, and we went exactly where I thought we were going to go.
I was actually just about to say there's almost something to be said for the predictableness of that movie. Like, I'll try my best not to spoil anything, but like the fact that it is one of those movies where right off the get, like what the movie's about, and then it kind of ends more or less the way you perceive it to be. And like, if you can still walk away from a movie like that and enjoy it, that's when I think there's something to be said for look at the Ring, for instance. That's a movie where it starts off saying, if you watch this tape, you're going to die in 7 days. And then like what happens at the end, they die in 7 days. It's like super, predictable, or it's just very, there's nothing like, but everybody loves that movie,
Yeah, but I think I don't know if it's apples and oranges, but it's
Apples and bananas.
It's staplers and hole punchers.
Okay.
We're in the same ballpark with that. I think that with the Ring specifically, I don't know. I think genre films are separate. Opposed to a drama, or a dark comedy like this. But I mean, look, I
does it?
I fully enjoyed the multiple playings of Papa Roach.
Yes.
That was very fun, and the aforementioned Christopher Abbott is he's a powerhouse, and he's a force to be reckoned with, and every paying American should pay tribute.
Here's the thing. Gore Verbinski made a very stylish piece, and I think
he's a stylish man.
It was a very cultural phenomenon, bringing that J horror over and making it like American.
This is the man who gave us Rango, by the way.
But now, narratively, when you have a film that's called John Dies at the End, which spoiler alert, he doesn't in that movie.
That's not Gore.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, the premise when it's in the synopsis, like the ending, like, oh, hey, at the end of this movie, I'm going to kill myself. I think the journey there, much like genre films, is how, it's the journey. Like, it's how do we get there? Do we like the guy by the end, or?
No, see, here's the thing. All right. I'll put this in the metadata. We're going to fucking... Actually, both of you won't see it. Here's the thing. They try to fucking split the baby. All right, and I'm tired of splitting the baby.
You don't like divorce.
They serve both sides. They're like, they're going to deliver on one thing, and then the other's like, oh, there's hope. Fuck that. There's no hope. Kill them all. Metallica. That's what I say. I don't know, man. I want to just now look. Lavelle Crawford running a dirt bike shop, that gave me so much joy. I wanted to see him on a dirt bike. Let me tell you that.
See, my thing is, I got Christopher Abbott bias syndrome because he's like my favorite. So
he was
fair.
Perfect. He was perfect in this. And I'm telling you, you'd be hard pressed to find another person, like Christopher Abbott, who could take that role and do what he did with it.
Only Robert Pattinson could do it.
Okay, Tom, I got a question for you. Here's a little behind the curtain talk for all y'all listening. I've been hounding Tom. I'm like, you got to make a feature, bro. And I know you brought us on your boat with the Barbados project, but I mean like a written, directed, potentially starring Thomas Burke. But if you could cast anybody, because I know Hollywood's going to be knocking on your door any day.
Knock,
And
knock,
they're like-
knocking on Tommy's door.
They're like, here's 50 mil. Like, who are you casting?
50 mil.
Who's your like number one actor or actress that you would just want to see in a found footage horror movie?
Wings Hauser.
I would probably team up with Robbie Banfish and make the Real Housewives found footage. With
Okay,
that.
but who are
Next
you
question.
That's fine. But I mean, who are you casting? I want to know like actors you'd want to work with.
I actually want to cast Robbie because he's so good. He's so good. He's so good in front of the camera. But no, him for sure. I don't know. A lot of people. Okay, Javier Botet, for example. He is. I think he lives in Spain, if I'm not mistaken. But he is basically this like super tall, lanky individual that's like the antagonist in so many horror movies. If you kind of look up his filmography, he's the crooked man in the Conjuring. He's one of the renditions of Pennywise in Andy Muschietti's It. So Javier Botet is like this creature character actor where he just does all these like full makeup or practical effects outfits, and he's kind of like one of the I think he's one of the best like performance actors, like be able to like use his body to act, and he never really has any lines, so you don't ever hear him, you don't hardly ever see his face because he's always done up, but he's just credited to so many good movies.
Yeah, I did not know him
Bubba Hotep, what's his name?
by name.
Javier
Yeah, Oksana knew who he was.
He played Mama. He's kind of like
Yeah.
Doug Jones. All of his parts are just he's covered in prosthetics and special effects, so you never really see him. But he's like 7 feet tall and plays monsters a bunch.
Oh, so he's Spanish Doug Jones, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But he
For
doesn't
sure,
have
I would work with him, or I would try to at least
Oh, what would you have him do?
be like a creature or a monster.
Here's another thing. When Jasadi, who's been on the show before, and he's our East Bay cinematographer friend. He shoots all Blu-ray Tuesday. Me and him drove up and picked up Tom while he was eating Chinese food in the alley. And one of the first things Tom told me was, "Oh, I thought you'd be taller."
I've heard that a
hurt.
few times in my life.
Oh my God, Tom, my heart, it was broken right there. I'm like,
Oh,
you
so
and
sorry.
my mom. Oh, and now I tell you pick an actor and you're like, oh, I love this guy. He's like 8 feet tall. I'm like, oh
Yeah, Russell and I look like we were injured in some sort of industrial accident where we were just squished.
yeah. We've been living on a very dense planet where the gravity's we're just
The gravity of life have pulled us down, brother.
we're in the phantasm dimension where all the short people come out.
Those cool balls, though.
Dude, I got cool balls.
Hey.
All right, now Tom, here's the thing. Here's the reason we brought you on here. We made a deal. We said, dude, Tom, hook us up, man. Put us in a fucking movie and we'll bring you back on the show. And you know what? If you do, we won't even have to talk about MTV's Sphere, which nobody wants to do but me.
I
Because
kind of do want to do it. No, I kind of do want to do it.
Okay.
I saved it to my watch list, and it's on queue. I'm gonna watch it soon.
You're like, next time I'm not busy, I'll watch it.
Sell me on this bullshit.
No, we talked about it last time. I said next time we do a TBR episode, we'll watch MTV Sphere, which was a reality show that was trying to cash in on the Blair Witch Project. So they sent people out there isolated. They were blindfolded. There was no casting crew. It was just them with like cameras on themselves, and they would go into like an abandoned penitentiary, and like they would have a recording tell them a ghost story, basically, and then they'd have to go do a challenge. It's incredible. It's all up on YouTube.
Look, I'm into it now because just recently I got down this rabbit hole with found footage, particularly that pertains to reality TV, like faux reality TV. And yeah, that sounds awesome, and I'm super into it.
I love the faux reality TV. What, My Little Lie? Have you seen that one?
Well, I can't find it. That's
Oh,
one.
dude, I own 2 copies. I think I have a UK release and a dude, you should be able to find that.
Ooh,
if not,
humble brag Magoo.
Oh, dude, when I can.
There's one that like nobody can find. I even talked to Madeline about this because she's good at hunting down films.
R.I.P.
It's, Tontine Massacre.
Oh, you were just telling me about that one.
It's crazy. It's like, you know how like the Blair Witch had millions and millions of dollars in their marketing, and who else? There was another, like even like there's like a few found footage films out there where like, you know, they put a lot of their marbles just into the marketing aspect.
Yeah. Paranormal.
Yeah. Oh, that's because that's the one I was thinking of because I just watched that paranormal documentary.
How cool would it have been if he's like, I'd never heard of it.
There's a paranormal documentary?
Yeah.
Unknown Dimension.
Unknown Dimension.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's good. Yeah, Dean Alioto's in it too. He talks about.
Oh, my boyfriend.
Yeah, Clark has a crush on Dean.
He's a handsome fellow. How could you not?
I don't know. He makes me insecure.
He's a handsome conspiracy theorist. What else do you need?
Hey, he was right. He was like, invest in medical stock.
Yeah.
That was like, dude, at our film fest, he was like, all medical stock's going to go way up. You know what? I wish I had a fucking time machine. I would have done it.
That's what you would have done? All right.
Yeah, it's a short list. Go ahead, Tom. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm usually not afraid to like approach filmmakers just because, you know, I'm never really coming from like trying to like do like business per se. But like Dean is like one of those guys, like I'm friends with him on Facebook, but I'm always like petrified to like reach out to him, you know, just to like say anything really, because I'm just such a big fan, you know. It's hard, like I don't really get starstruck too easily, but I feel like if I met Dean, I'd for sure be a little starstruck.
Well, also he's met gray aliens before. It's a little scary. And no joke, today the news was live. They were doing live coverage of a court case about UFOs in the Senate or whatever. Very interesting.
Yeah, it just knows it all.
No, it's fucking stupid. I don't know why they do it. But yeah, so the reality show, what you were saying, somebody from Survivor's in it?
Oh, yeah. So one of the characters from Survivor directed and acted as like the host of he didn't direct it, but he acted as the host of this faux reality TV show called Tontine, and there's a YouTube channel for it. And it's so wild because like you can't find the film anywhere and nobody has talked about watching it, but like I probably did like a whole day on just trying to like look up as much as I could about it. And there apparently was like a one-time screening of the film. Maybe it was 2012, if I'm not mistaken, where they did like they had their website active at the time. They were just streaming it for a one-time viewing. And so basically the only people that have ever seen that movie are the ones that tuned in that one time in 2012.
Damn. I love it. You know, it's funny whenever you stay true to like your premise, and you know, when we're talking about found footage, you can have our ARG elements like that, where it's like a live stream that we're only going to do one time, which is kind of what we did 2 times and called it a film fest. And you kind of live and die by it. Like, it's really cool if you're a part of it, but then it's kind of done. Like, it's hard.
It blows my mind when you put that much money into marketing it, because like you'll see some of the, like if you watch the trailers, you kind of see a lot of this like behind the scenes stuff, and you know they're shooting it, you know, big time, and you can tell they have a big budget, and they're sort of staging these like fake altercations, and like there's like a little video clip where the host punches a heckler, and they basically created this fake controversy which like quote unquote prevented the film from getting released. So like they kind of justify their own reason why like the film hasn't come out. Yeah. I mean, I would love to see it, but it just blows my mind. You spend that much money into promoting the movie, like, and there's just no chance to watch it. It makes me wonder, like, what was the purpose of making it, you know?
So it was a reverse Will Smith?
Oh my God.
That's what I'm talking about.
Here's what you got to do. You jump on Facebook. You join every group related to found footage. You put it out there. You're looking for it. You wait for a DM. Then in that DM, they give you a link to a Discord. Then you go
in 2009, we would do that.
No, dude. JDJ, all his footage. That's how he got it. Facebook Live in the Discord channel where they hid all the good shit. And that's where you got to go, Tom. You gotta.
Yeah, no, those Discord guys have helped me out, like, fine, because you know I'm the biggest Shiraishi fan, that they sent me some of those films that I'm grateful for, because like I've just been kind of hunting for his whole filmography, if you will. Like even during the virtual fest, I found I was translating Japanese in another browser, and I found his very first found footage film that like has never been published in English. So I mean, I should probably find the name, but it's basically like Koji is in film school. He's with his buddies, and it's like a pre-remake to there's a movie he made in 2010 that's found footage. It's called like Cursed Violent People or something along the lines of that. Then I came to find out that like in the 1990s, he basically made this proof of concept feature, which we later to know this to be this 2010 film. But like basically he's just with his friends. He's like a kid and he's just like shooting the shit. But in the end credit sequence, there's this like band performance sequence where basically Koji is the lead singer of a punk band.
Hell yeah.
And I'm just obsessed now. So I'm trying to find the music, seeing if he was in a band. Like, it's so cool.
Koji Shirashi is the director of Record of Sweet Murder, Noroi, The Curse. Like, he might be the most prolific found footage filmmaker. And,
you wrote a book.
Yeah, Nigel Block too. Nigel's the American Koji.
That's right.
There's people in Japan trying to find Bad Ben movies that they can translate. Now, it's dude, did you see around my birthday, I posted a picture. Okay, my birthday, again, I share with the original found footage king, Rogerio Deodato. I found a picture of him hanging out with Junji Ito, which if you're a manga fan, he's like, he is the one who penned Uzumaki, which was turned into a film that I wasn't a huge fan of. But the podcast that we got to adopt Randy, they did an Uzumaki episode, and then Randy broke them up, like all stepchildren do to good parents.
Randy's good with breaking people up.
This is true.
Anyway, Tom, I feel like we got so far away from the Barbados project. Congratulations, man. You leveled up that damn movie.
Thank you.
And I always tell everybody that our buddy Birdman, who was a guest host on the show, he helps us with the film fest. He pointed out that he had mentioned the Trident to me about a year ago. And he's like, who knew a year later you'd be in the movie? That's so fucking weird. And here, I got to give you some shit. Where the hell is the Barbados project poster?
It's coming. It's coming real soon.
You know how much shit we got? People are like, wait, is this the Barbados project or the Trident?
I know, it's super confusing, but when the virtual fest was getting announced, I was like, man, maybe like I'm super close to finishing post-production on this. I was like really trying to just finish that movie before, like to try to get in the fest, you know what I mean? So I was just, almost racing against the clock because I thought it would have been perfect to kind of like show for that kind of thing.
Yeah. And, I've been bothering you like I've been bothering Clark and Randy about my editor auteur theory with found footage. And I mean, honestly, you're becoming one of the best examples of it, because that movie, you have an editing style where you have like a HUD display that's got like a unique style to it. I would call it aggressive and flashy.
Yeah.
And dude, it read like you so much in A Town Full of Ghosts when we popped in that little video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun, man. I was like, that's my favorite part of the movie too, by the way. It's and just to, without spoiling anything, it's just it's like a few minute montage, Super 8 reel tape that basically just describes the backstory or mythos of the town, of the ghost town. So it's it's cool. It takes you back in time a little bit, but it's fun. And yeah, I like that editor auteur theory too. I had like what I mentioned earlier. I'm about to start working on this movie called Ghost of Hiroshima, and Brandon Walker is the director of that film, and like he and I have talked for hours on the phone about found footage theory, and like where is it okay to maybe like break outside of certain rules or maintain within. And so he's a really smart guy, and he kind of almost like allowed me to view that like editor auteur theory a little bit more with like video editing and taking elements of like, we talk about The Ring, like, those tapes are supposed to be cursed, right? Or degraded down to like, there's like some kind of just damage to the thing. But there's like cool ways to, I guess, sort of like explore new ideas with like that kind of degradation of footage. So that's kind of what I'm having fun with when I'm doing like really like glitchy or flashy edits.
Yeah, the degraded video is like a hallmark. And I should have hit you up because for the online fest, I was like, we were kind of taking the piss out of all the fucking VHS worship, and we were doing a floppy disk thing. And I was like, well, what would distortion look like on a floppy disk? And I almost, imagine like a pixelated dissolve or something. I don't know what it would.
Yeah.
Like, because video on floppy is already such a weird idea. Although you can do it. I went down a rabbit hole on YouTube, and people have figured out how to do video on floppy, and it actually doesn't even seem that hard.
Because it's low storage space. That's why people think it's hard, because it's like it doesn't have that much space on it. Is that why?
Yeah. No, well, yeah, and one guy had recreated I think he recreated Toxic, the music video from Britney Spears.
Yeah, I used to jump like crazy in that video.
He recreated it in just text. So imagine like it's like Word Pro, but it's all like just like typed out, and it's the whole video. It looks kind of rad.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. But anyway, we're talking about the editor being king, and I have to ask a question on behalf of my good friend and cohort Clark Little. How come you edited out all our jokes in Barbados project, dude?
All the jokes.
Clark was so he was like, dude, there are no jokes in
no jokes.
I do have like 3 or 4 different versions of that montage. So if you want, I can send y'all like the ones with all the comedy bits.
It's fine.
Dude, please do. And then if we do a Discord, that can be a
Is that how you're gonna sell me? I mean, look, I understand the game, Tom. I get the game, and that, maybe it's not good that I call one of the actors in the film, crackhead Rihanna. I get it. I get it. See, you're laughing, and that's what hurts
that's
me.
Exactly why I can't add stuff like that in.
But you can, Tom.
But
you're the co-director now. And the joy that I just gave you was the joy that I wanted to give the people.
I don't know.
Including
what if
crackhead Rihanna.
Rihanna one day, I mean.
She knows what she is.
Closing doors.
Yeah, our buddy Jorge Torres worked with Rihanna. Anyway.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. So he's going to hook up that. Yeah. He shot a tattoo video over.
Nice.
Russian lesbians?
Oh, yeah. No, Tom, dude, totally send us that cut. I gotta tell you, Clark was like, dude, I watched it. Like, first, we were kind of worried because I had warned you off the bat. Like, I'm like, dude, we're gonna be riffing on it. That's all we do. We just riff. We're dumb. We're fucking stupid. What are we gonna do? We're gonna do jokes. Little do we know, Randy was gonna come in hot after fighting the curb that day. And dude, we were punchy, and we were like, what is that gonna look like? We're in like an all black cast film, and then a podcast shows up with 3 douchebags.
I know.
And then Clark watched it and came back. He went, dude, there's no jokes. He was like, we're gonna look worse. And I was like, dude, it's on brand. Whatever.
It is.
And we got a cool IMDb.
That's
credit
right.
out
Our
of it.
first credit, everybody.
And I assumed since Randy operates the the sound for the show, that I'm assuming you recorded the webcam. So I think I credited you as like additional camera as well.
Oh, cool.
Oh shit.
2 credits.
What the fuck? You know what? I'm looking
is
it up.
that bullshit?
I'm gonna dispute it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go on IMDb and be like,
additional camera, Randy Stan.
That's bullshit.
Hell yeah.
He came in punchy. He had a mess.
All right, well, I want a fucking best boy credit or something. Give me some gaffer bullshit.
If you tell me what a best boy does, then you can get the credit.
All right, take a guess.
Best boy's your best boy. He does all the stuff. Whatever you need, he's a runner. He's a getter.
No good, Tom?
No.
All right, well, fuck. All right,
It's an assistant to the grip, basically.
That's what I mean.
Clark's got a weak grip.
He's the rip. You got the grip and the rip, baby.
Our original podcast name.
That's right.
Now, Tom, so you heard me, the last TBR we did, I talked about a town full of ghosts. And it was the weirdest critique I've ever had, where I wanted a town full of ghosts to be longer. Now, I've gotten DMs where people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, why would you tell a filmmaker to extend the film? And I'm like, at the time it wasn't out. Like, everybody go watch it now. Isaac Rodriguez, I almost called him Isaac again. I felt it wanted to come up.
You're special.
Isaac,
in the worst way.
Isaac Rodriguez is he's one of the new wave of found footage horror. And dude, the fucking location is incredible. Now, I believe you texted me, Tommy, you're like, I live a half hour from there.
Yeah, because I actually, when I listened to the podcast, I heard you say it was like 4 hours away. Like we did Camping Fun 4 hours away, and Isaac's latest one that we just wrapped production on, Mr. Creep, that's also found footage, and we did that one like 3 hours away.
Wait, you shot a movie with Randy in it?
Oh boy.
No, Isaac. So like right after A Town Full of Ghosts wrapped, he jumped straight into another found footage movie called Mr. Creep, and that is in post production now. But that one was like a 3 hour. We shot it like in an abandoned prison. It's cool. Yeah. So maybe that was what you were thinking. Maybe because I told you. Yeah. Anyways, but
I like how you powered through the Gilligan Island reference.
It was quick.
The ghost town it's called the J. Lorraine Ghost Town. It's 30 minutes outside of Austin in Manor, a city called Manor. And I actually know quite a bit about it because I used to film a bunch of my shorts there, like when I was in film school. The owner, his name is George. He's like a really nice guy. He basically built this ghost town from the ground up, starting from the 1980s. And he just slowly but surely over time started adding new infrastructure to the plot of land. And so it never really like gained popularity until recently when the TV show Fear the Walking Dead filmed like an episode or maybe more there. And one thing I know about that production is that like whenever they're kind of getting ready to shoot somewhere, like they always invest in upbuilding like the place. Like they did a little car crash sequence at my friend's ranch, and they like basically were like, hey, we're gonna tear down these guardrails on the road, but like we're gonna just build it like 10 times more. So basically what they did with the ghost town is they just like they upbuilt it. So now I think it's a little more well known. It's a little harder to get permission to film there. But when I used to shoot there back in like 2015, all the terms were as long as you come back and send a DVD, give them like a DVD of the film, then you could shoot for free.
I love it. I love that shit.
And they actually screen stuff on the projector out there.
Yeah, that was my. Because, okay, here's the thing. With found footage, you get no real context, and you can never tell what's a lie. So if you're like me, you just assume everything in life is a lie. So I was confused because it looked like there was no exterior wall, but every building looked furnished. So I'm like, what the fuck? Do people not show up and steal this shit? Or like...
Good question. There are RVs in like the back. So there are people like they live on the land. So
okay.
There's like a house there, I think, with maybe but those furnished those houses that you see, or those like that you don't really get to see too much of the interior with, like there's like a jail cell, a bank, a barber shop, just like a little hootenanny, like also, bar.
I heard Joe Rogan's comedy club is going to be there as well.
If I'm not mistaken, do y'all know that Ryan Reynolds movie Buried, where he's just like buried in a coffin the whole movie?
Oh wait,
sure.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Oksana, do you want to go ahead and weigh in here?
Yeah, Russell never watched it because he put on that garbage and fell asleep, and then I ended up watching it by myself, and I hate Ryan Reynolds for it.
It's a good film.
Dude, I woke up and she was fucking angry. She was like, "Are you kidding me?" Because I was
That's
making
a good movie.
I was making a joke.
I don't even remember it that much.
I just
Not
remember.
you remember. I mean, he's just in the box the whole time.
Yeah,
But
the ending was like stupid, maybe, but I just
don't
remember
remember
being angry.
Well,
the
here's
whole
the
time.
thing. I made a big deal out of it. And I'm like, we're gonna watch this fucking movie, and I was joking about it, and I crashed. And I don't know why she didn't turn it off. She watched the whole thing, and I remember waking up, and she was just glaring at me. She was so fucking angry, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm sorry, but like, she won't watch it again with me. So,
well, what I heard about the movie is that it was probably not a world premiere, but it was some kind of a premiere where they did a thing at the ghost town where they were like having fans who wanted to get buried in the ground like sign waivers to like watch the movie while being buried, or I don't know, something like that. But it's
dude,
yeah.
they took my idea.
God, marketing people are the worst.
I got an idea.
Hey, what about this? What about this, guys? Guys had like 14 lattes that day.
We streamed the Deep House underwater.
Fucking the worst.
we have snorkelers watching a projection on the ground.
Damn.
I'd watch it underground, I think.
What?
No, they did
Buried?
do that with The Descent. I saw they did a screening in the UK in a cave where they were watching The Descent. It's all,
That's cool.
dude. Hey, it's
You know
all.
what
It's your fault, Tom, because in fucking the Alamo, they did the Jaws in the pool, right?
Well, no, what we have here is something really cool. They do it just recently. Friends and I went to go see Blair Witch Project in the woods, and that was it's just in Austin. This like small little drive-in, and so they're at the drive-in. There are like drive-in theaters, but then there's an extra. Projector, there's an extra screen or whatever that's like in the woods, and it's maybe just a couple like benches. It's very like low profile, it's not anything like special. You're not sitting in like comfy chairs or nothing like that, but you're totally in the woods. And that I would say like the coolest part about that experience was kind of like having like the practical ambience in the background, over stimulating like while the movie's playing, so you have like a balance of like both ambiences, and it kind of just for me it like enhanced that experience. It made it really cool.
Well, you're beckoning the ritual. The Blair Witch is the movie of failures, where everything in it is a failure, and I can get into that into another day. I'm reading a very dense book on essays on the Blair Witch. But
nice.
Anyway, when we first met Madeline, R.I.P. Marbles, we always talked about doing a camping trip where we would bring a projector and a screen. And this is how like fucking how much of an aggregate I was about like found footage horror.
I'm so glad I was not involved in any of those conversations.
And I was like, dude, we would watch the Blair Witch and like Willow Creek, like movies that people thought like didn't have any real impact. But I'm like, if you're out there in the fucking woods, these movies, they would capture your imagination. And I think even after you walked away from the film, it would like you would be in the film. And I don't know. I always wanted to do that. I'm fucking jealous. I ain't moving to Austin though. It's too fucking hot. Too many bats.
Oh yeah, it is hot. I don't go outside.
Yeah, hell no. Okay, well, Tom, so that dude kept building up the ghost town. When the hell did he decide to put a maze in there?
Good question. He's had it there for years, because I shot my I did a couple 48-hour film projects where I don't know if y'all are. They do it. You have to write, edit, shoot, release your movie in 2 days, basically, and it's like low stakes. Usually no budget. You kind of do it with your friends. It's like it's everybody's chance to kind of do the whole filmmaking process. Like, it's weird because you almost think it's going to be like super stressful because of the time constraint, but it almost like is the exact opposite, because there's no high stakes. Like there's nothing to really lose, because you're just trying to like put something together in two days. There's something
now,
to be
that's funny here. No, hold on. Our buddy Jasadi, who we mentioned earlier, him and his buddy Josh, they always partake in the East Bay 48-hour Film Fest. And here's something we didn't know, Clark. Apparently, Jasadi starred in a faux doc where he was playing a weird character, and it like was the darling of the fest. Nice. And they got some and they were saying, the whole thing's about networking. And because there's a bunch of little like satellite film fest, they have like the best of the country kind of thing. But it's funny hearing you talk about how like casual and fun it is, because they were saying there are people out here who have pre-written scripts where they're trying to game the system.
Right, they'll write one for every genre and like have yeah.
Because now the nature of that is they're trying to catch you off guard, so you just make
like they're shooting themselves in the foot because it's all predetermined, and that's not what the fest is about. It's like if it was something different, like if it was specifically a sci-fi or like a monster creature festival, maybe you could get away with like this predetermination, but like nobody wants like a fully crisp, clean. Like, they want kind of that spontaneity that most of these films like are forced to kind of undergo.
Predestined. What is this? A Presbyterian film festival?
Well, it's like
none of our listeners. It's
like the way like a lot of like acting is like analyzed is like or poor performances are usually like seen as predetermination, like somebody who's not really living in the present moment with that person. Because I always say like acting isn't acting is just behaving. You're really just like listening to what the other person is saying. Like that's acting, you know what I mean? So there's something to kind of be said for that anyways. But
I believe Sid Haig would tell a story about Hitchcock and how he was casted in a film. And somebody said, "Hey man, how did you do it?" And he was like, "Well, I read the book on acting." He's like, and they're like, "Oh, you really got to read a book?" He's like, "I only read the cover." And it said, "Acting is believing." He's like, "That's all you need to know." That's one of those stories where you're like, "Shut the fuck up." No,
also Sid Haig was blonde.
And and wasted, clearly. No, Tom, the 48 Film Fest, so when you're in there, they draw like random categories, right? So it'd be like musical, leprechaun, and then you have to make that.
Musical leprechaun?
Yeah, like you get different categories, and
leprechaun's a category?
I mean, anything could be.
You get one genre, one line to use in the film, and then like one prop to use.
Well, Tom, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong here, but if you're doing a 48-hour film festival, you're going to need more than one line. Am I right?
Yeah, musical.
One year was like a turkey. We had like a turkey baster as a prop, I think.
Oh, that's how they made.
Yeah,
I can't.
Don't breathe. I can't.
Don't breathe. Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
Look at our producer over there doing the hard work. Look at Randy.
It's off the dome. I didn't even Google it.
That's because you like elevated horror only. You fucking pretentious hack.
Don't Breathe.
I never saw the second one though.
Don't Breathe is not elevated horror.
Don't Breathe 2 is not elevated.
Don't Breathe's all about spunk, dude.
Love you, Fetty Alvarez. We're gonna hook you up with him, Tom.
Fetty.
All right, what is elevated horror? I hear you guys talking about.
Oh God.
Well, you
wait, actually, really quick. I asked my girlfriend this the other day because I was like, "What is elevated horror?" And she told me, "Is it like a Scream 5 reference? Is that where
Scream does talk about it? Scream 5. No, elevated horror is when you drink too much 211 or 311. I don't drink anymore.
All right, try over. Start over.
What is it? Somebody tell me. What is that gross malt liquor that's high gravity? 211, right? Oh my God. I'm looking around the room. None of y'all are
Steel Reserve?
Steel Reserve, yeah. It's 211?
It's Steel Reserve.
Oh my God.
That's what it's called.
All right. Email at the Overlook Hour at gmail.com. No, elevated horror, it's the idea that, you're not making a schlocky 80s boob and blood movie. You're making a film like The Babadook that's about parenting and the horrors of emotion and how you can never really move on from trauma, but you just learn to cope with it. That's elevated horror.
Mind-bending shit, like stuff like that, like psychological.
I think the reason that we push back against that culture is because it's demanding more. It's not enough to make Nightmare on Elm Street. You have to make Nightmare on Elm Street 2, which is about being gay, only through, revisionist history.
I'd say it's strong, dramatic themes under the veil of horror.
So let me say this. So if you have like a vague, ambiguous ending, is that elevated horror?
It could be
anything A24 produces.
There you go.
Does that help?
Yeah. Where it's like if like the layman or the casual moviegoer, it's like, what was that movie about? Bam. elevated horror.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, I'm like 50-50 on that because like there's some of those are like my favorites, and then others I guess it always depends really, but
For sure.
Yeah, because from my perspective, Nigel Bach has done nothing but elevate the genre of horror. So that's where I'm at. All right, we got anything else for Tom?
Why are you trying to get out of here? We want to hang out with Tom.
It's an hour 10. We're done.
I'm having a beer.
We're done.
We're hanging out. It's not
Yeah.
like Tom's got
Tom
9
has-
movies to edit.
Tom has 19 movies he's working on right now.
Well, Tom, we got to talk about like what's POV horror doing? Plug some of your shit. How can people find you?
Yeah, good question. I've been so busy. I've been so busy working. I don't even like. I mean, I have a social media that like I'm active on sometimes. The Movie Archive on both Letterboxd and Instagram. I do a lot of like hard copy media collection. So I have like 3,000 movies and a lot of action figures for like horror films, things like that. So you can follow me on those. And I guess I'm like most active on Letterboxd. That's probably the best place.
Yeah, I hate you.
And,
How was
recently I've been contributing to like Mubi, and I've been adding like
Hell yeah.
hundreds of movies to these like different hundreds of different found footage movies into various online databases to just try to like spread the word more about it. So that's kind of what I've been working on a lot recently.
How's our boy Steinberg doing?
He's busy, man. He's good, but he's busy.
What's his sleep schedule like? I
No.
imagine some sort of like, Nosferatu coffin situation.
I think he's got it figured out. Like, he's not one to share his secret, if you will. But like, I think he goes to bed every night, probably around the same time. I'm guessing, unless there's like a crisis.
What a weirdo.
Oh, Steinberg's got a schedule. I believe that.
Yeah, he's got a schedule. He knows.
100%.
No, dude, Steinberg got back into being a lawyer. He's actually working on the Amber Heard trial right now.
No, boy. You got to stop with that, man. Every time I go downstairs, you're watching that bullshit.
I'm trying to learn about our legal system, and I'm really there's a morality play at hand, and I am blind like the Lady of Justice, and I'm weighing the truth and the fiction. It's why I love found footage.
Thanks, Tom.
No, don't let Tom go. We got like 3 more hours with him.
Yeah, 3. I was gonna say 3 or 4 for sure.
All right, well, y'all have fun.
Oh my god!
I'll see you next week.
Go,
Yeah.
yeah. No, Tom, I love you, man. If you want to do the MTV thing, let's do it. I'll make Clark watch it.
Yeah, let's definitely do it.
All
I'll
right.
watch it if you watch some of the movies that you refuse to watch.
Yeah, but then you have to fucking watch MTV.
And you have to fucking watch The Rover.
Or maybe we should just do a viewing party on Discord. And then we can watch
Wait,
it.
what movies are you refusing to watch?
He refuses to watch The Rover
Okay, what else?
with
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson.
Oh, you had to draw him in with that. huh?
Yeah. And also he refuses to watch Jeff Nichols' Mud.
I don't like
Oh,
Mud Butt, dude.
well, that's Bonnie from Camping Fun. She's in that movie.
Wait, what?
Oh.
Oh,
Or she just passed away this last year. But
Wait, what? You're taking me on a roller coaster. Right?
I
That's
know, it's
right.
a
You
lot.
did talk about that. Yeah. She was
but
in Mud?
She's in Mud, yeah.
I love Mud.
And that's a great crew. I've worked with some of those crew guys before. They're great.
Oh my god.
Jeff Nichols knows how
Alright,
to run a
fine.
show, dude.
All right, I'll fucking
yeah.
watch it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Not because-
also he refuses to watch one of Randy's favorite films in the last decade, Transit.
That's fine. He might not like it.
What?
I
don't
still
like
have my Blu-ray though.
I do.
It's Echoes of Vertigo, dude.
all of the 3 movies he just mentioned are. I have Randy's Blu-rays for all of them, and I will watch them.
Did I give you Mud?
You give me Mud Butt every day, dude.
It's cool. I've never seen Star Wars, so I get it.
Yeah, you never seen Star Wars. You never ate pizza. We all know you had no childhood, apparently.
I've never finished The Wire, and I never will.
Yeah, you're a bitch.
That's fine. I'm not going to watch We Own This City.
Dude,
either.
We Own This City is, honestly, it may be the best thing I've ever seen in my life. It's incredible.
Wow.
It's
good.
incredible.
Where do you rate it?
6 out of 5.
All right. Well,
It's
Tom,
great.
I love you, man. I'm being jealous. I'm trying to keep you here too long. And let's do
Just
the
call me after
MTV
the
thing.
show. Call me after the show. We'll just chat on the phone.
No, dude, I'm lying for the podcast audience.
You're lying for 55 people?
Dude, that's a generous number right there.
Hey, I mean, we're Sammy Hagar, dude. I fucking love it.
Yeah, 55K, bro.
55 mil. 55 is fucking Joe Rogan numbers, dude. We fucking crush him. Also, I am jealous that Thomas got to smoke this whole interview, and because I live with 2 fucking boobs, they won't let me smoke inside. Why can't I smoke with Thomas? Smoke with my friend.
Okay,
'Cause
give,
we're-
give me the security
I
report.
know.
I don't care what you do.
Both of you bitches have gone against the lease, and I'm the only one who hasn't broken any lease agreement.
Yeah, well,
Thank you.
yours will.
Didn't you scratch the hardwood floor with that green screen?
What? No, I didn't.
I saw it down there. Oksana, but she was like, that was Clark.
That was not Clark.
I didn't say
You did.
Thank you.
Oh, she's back in. Okay. All right. Full
that. Said
fuck
it was
that.
him and just.
Speaking of green
Blaming
screens,
the black guy.
and speaking of smoking, if I can say real quick, when I was shooting the Freak Accident short film, the one about spontaneous human combustion, we filmed a lot of that on a green screen, and we rented this nice little fabric to use. And when we returned it, they like basically called us and said like, "Yo, like this thing just reeks of like cigarettes," and they're like. They basically charged us like $300 for just using it for one day because
Damn.
that thing just reeked apparently.
Dude, do you remember when eBay started making that disclaimer, the smokehouse or what the fuck do you say, like smoke-free house?
Non-smoking house.
Yeah, non-smoking.
No.
Because you would buy shit on there and it would be like, what
Oh,
the
really?
fuck? Thomas Burke have this in his room? You try to get some Funko Pop and you're like, dude, Jason's been chain smoking.
Just giving it a little character.
Yeah, okay.
Little-
That's
A little, scent of patina.
show Thomas the Febreze you walk around with because you fucking reek like a tobacco shop.
Spray your ass.
Don't,
Hell yeah.
dude. I think it smells like a fucking bathroom, and you did. Oh my god,
Ember. Shit smells.
Oh, nice.
No, yeah, it's the hot thing on the trailer park right now.
You have such a inappropriately skewed vision of reality.
Yeah, I grew up in the Bay Area. Okay,
Russell,
everything east of
you,
Arizona is a
from the
flyover
bottom.
state.
I love you from the bottom of my heart. You are a louse. You are an undisciplined, unruly troglodyte.
Trogley. He sprayed me with
Thank you.
Febreze. I'm not letting that go. Also, hey Tom,
You ate raw Canadian bacon yesterday.
I did. Is that wrong?
It's fully cooked.
Yeah.
What about a raw hot dog?
It's fine.
I've done it.
I've done
It's fine. It's just embarrassing.
it once or a couple times.
This is a good group we got here. All right. Well, Tom, you got to take a picture because I need it for the podcast art.
Okay, yeah, I'll find something.
No, don't find something.
And put us on the Barbados poster somehow.
Oh, good idea. Yeah,
Just Randy and his nasal strip.
yeah.
Thomas, I love you, man. Yeah, I'll probably bug you later tonight.
Hell yeah, do it. I love you guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Love you,
Oh,
Tom.
shut up. You're gonna come back. We're gonna talk MTV.
We will.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Overlook Hour. And if you would like to hear more, please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your podcatcher of choice is. And while you're there, go ahead and give us a rating and or a review, which is a very easy way for you to support this show that we bring to you every week for years now, free of charge. And as always, you can find us on YouTube at The Overlook Theater, Instagram at The Overlook Theater, Facebook at The Overlook Hour, and Twitter at The Overlook Hour. Last but not least, you can send us your emails and tell us how much you like or dislike the show at overlookhour@gmail.com. And if you're nice, maybe we'll read them on the show. I've been your engineer, Randy Stat. Please join me along with Clark, Russell, and Oksana again next time. Bye.